Good day, and welcome to episode 2 of In the Yard, Music and Sound with Sage Reynolds. I'm Sage Reynolds, a composer and musician from Canada. Today I'm going to be talking about the process behind a string quartet piece of mine. But before that, it's release day for the second single from Life in Winter's Northern Window EP. The song is called Still Norway. It's a favorite of mine and has influences from 70s folk rock. I'll put links to the song in the description below, and I hope you enjoy it. I also have a new free sample pack called Fireside available in Contact and decent sampler formats at pianobook.co.uk, link below. It was released December 23rd, 2022 as part of Pianobook's Advent calendar. The sample pack features ukulele swarms performed in octaves, a found sound created by dragging a fire iron across a rough wooden studio floor, and a patch created by passing the first two sounds through granular processing. These three sounds can be blended using the mod wheel on your Midi controller. I've included a fourth sound, which is the ambient noise created by a wood fire. There are several other effects and features. Here's a link to a walkthrough video for Fireside, and I've included a link to the Pianobook Advent video below. Hope you find these sounds inspiring. As you can see, we're in between seasons here in my yard, with autumn winding down, winter right around the corner. There's not a lot going on in terms of foliage or wildlife. There's a sense of anticipation. It's time to get cozy. My drink for today is hot apple cider, which is actually sort of lukewarm or cold at this point. It's actually minus 10 degrees Celsius out here, which is 14 Fahrenheit. So this was supposed to keep me warm, but I'm hanging in there. Cheers. For most of 2022, I was working on a grant project funded by the Canada Council for the Arts. Thank you, Canada Council. The goals of this project were to strengthen my composition and orchestration skills, work with excellent coaches from the community, compose new music for string quartet, and record a professional demo at a top-notch studio with a world-class string quartet. Quatuor Bozzini. One of the pieces that I composed for this project is called 2 meters. It's getting pretty cold out here, so I'm going to move into my studio to talk more about 2 meters. See you inside. It's a lot warmer in here. For 2 meters, I did most of the composition in my DAW, creating a mock-up using virtual instruments before notating the score, examining the piece with my coaches, revising the music, rehearsing with the string quartet, and recording the music at Montreal's Studio PM. First, we're going to check out my mock-up session in Pro Tools. Then we'll have a look at the score and listen to an excerpt from the live demo recording. Let's get into it. Here we are in the Pro Tools session for my mock-up for 2 meters. First, I'm going to go over to the mix window and we're going to check out the instruments that I used. For the section that we're going to be looking at, I used this group of instruments right here. We have 2 tracks for the violins playing high flattando. Here's the articulation right here. Another 2 tracks that come in later on of the violins playing the main theme. The articulation used is the long articulation for this. It's more soaring. The viola uses a spiccato articulation or a short. The cello uses the same spiccato articulation. At one point, both violins are actually playing shorts as well. All of the virtual instruments that I used for this mock-up were from Spitfire Audio. The ones we're going to be listening to are from Spitfire Audio's Solo Strings library. While we're in the mix window, you can see that I put some reverb, EQ, compression, and mastering effects on the master channel. This helped polish the sound and put all the virtual instruments into one virtual space using the reverb. The compression acts as a glue. The EQ makes sure there isn't too many buildups of certain frequencies. And then Ozone by Isotope is a great tool for quick mastering. Let's head back over to the edit window. As you can see, here are my 2 high violins 2 violins for the main theme, some shorts for the violins, and then the viola and cello, which are all shorts for this part. As I composed this piece, I performed with my Midi controller. Sometimes I'd use a piano sound to get inspiration, but a lot of times I went directly with the string sounds. If I wanted something specific that I couldn't play on the Midi controller, I would draw it into the timeline using the pencil tool. But I preferred to perform as much as possible so it had a more natural or human feel. Part of this performance is actually using a Midi controller with faders or sliders to perform the mod wheel or CC1, expression, CC11, and also CC21, which in this case is vibrato. With this method, I could play the keyboard with my right hand and play the faders with my left hand, creating a more natural effect. Here's an example of expression, CC11, mod wheel, CC1, and vibrato here on CC21. For the short articulations, it was all about velocity. So most of the time I was playing it in live, so it was pretty natural feeling. But if I ever wrote anything in with the pencil tool, it would end up at a static velocity level. I would then go in and adjust the velocity to make sure that it changed a bit and felt more natural. Mixing was done to balance the levels. As you can see, very subtle, because I could actually do most of the mixing with expression and dynamics. I also did some panning to move the instruments around in the sound field. When a string sound was too aggressive, I often put some EQ on it. Now I'm going to play this section so you can hear how the mock-up sounds. While I was composing, I wanted to keep the human element in as much as possible. But when it came time to make the score, I had to quantize pretty much everything so that things would line up on the beat for my score. So to do this, I duplicated the session and went back and quantized everything. Then I bounced out a Midi file, which I opened up in Finale. This Midi file gave me pretty much everything I needed, but I needed to add articulations, dynamic markings, instructions. Once the score was completed, I made parts for the musicians. In this case, the string quartet actually read from the score. Now we're going to look at the score and listen to the live performance of the string quartet. Here's the score for 2 meters. As you can see, I've put in tempo markings, as well as some other guidance. In Finale, I also had to input the articulations. Here's a Bartok Pitts, for example, as well as any other instructions and the dynamic markings. We'll only be looking at and listening to part of the piece, but I'll slowly scroll over the whole score so you can have a look. The string quartet helped me a lot during rehearsals, letting me know what they needed and what was extraneous. Now let's go back up to the section that we'll be listening to. The excerpt starts at around bar 16. Now I'm going to play back the live recording of the string quartet, which was recorded by Marcus Paquin at Studio PM in Montreal. As we listen back, I'll scroll along with the score. Please let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions about anything that I covered today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, both below. Selecting the notification bell is also helpful. If you would like to check out episode 1 of the series, I've put links above and below, and have several other videos planned for the new year, including episode 3 of In the Art. Happy holidays.
You sit there waiting, I'm still lost. You say I'll always be so. The northern window rested hard. Somewhere out there, sail away. It's always